Let me ask you something, because a lot of people are talking about maybe it's not him. He doesn't have a unibrow in the photos that you put out. And then yesterday when we saw him, he's got a unibrow.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, this entire case, a lot of it's gonna hinge on facial recognition. We're talking about they're gonna have to bring in facial experts, video experts, image experts, AI tools will be used, probably some technology that hasn't been used in criminal investigations in order to really break this case down. They're gonna have to bring all the experts on this. A lot of it is gonna hinge on the face, the eyes, the eyebrows, cheekbones, jaw lines. We're talking shoulders. We're talking, they're going to examine walks, body patterns, body movement, mannerism, speech. Everything is going to play and hinge on what this person looked like at the hostel. Is the person who showed up at the hostel the same person who was picked up at McDonald's? You know who the key witness is? The only witness to tie all this together is the woman at the hostel. She's the only person who can say that she saw the actual suspect pull the face mask down when having a conversation. And guess what? If she puts two and two together and say they're not the same, the case is done, you guys. Which means that maybe Luigi is affiliated, but he's not the shooter. Which means that he is a part of, but he is not the shooter. And though you may want to charge him with something, again, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. You guys, this whole case is going to hinge on, can you, listen, if the eyebrows don't connect, you gotta reject, all right? If they don't connect, you gotta reject. This whole thing is hinging on the eyebrows. Listen, before we dive into that, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Those who were here before, welcome back. You guys subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content and like the video. It goes a long way. And listen, you have one key witness. The most important is the person at the hostel. I have a feeling that she's not going to connect the two images. I just have a feeling she's not. And this is what's going to be key about this investigation. So here's the thing. The truth of the matter is you have a lot of people out here who have the same facial features as Luigi. Thick eyebrows, the eyes a little bit slanted, a little bit oval. A lot of people could match that. I could pull up some photos here on the side, just like the thumbnail shows. You guys, who am I? Who am I? If I'm doing a lineup and I have a witness and all the witnesses who've seen only see his eyes and eyebrows, okay, which one is the suspect? Who shot you? Can you pick? Can you point the person out? The answer is probably no, right? When we do a lineup in an investigation, you want to put similar featured people together. For example, if the suspect had an afro, the suspect had long blonde hair, then all of maybe the 6 individuals that you put together for a lineup photo all need to have similar features. Because if not, and of course, one of those suspects, one of the photos in there, the individual is the actual suspect. But you want to see how good the witness can recall information. Hey, you used to see it back in the day, right? They all stand up along the wall and they have a little sign. And they're supposed to say, out of these 7 people that are lined up on this wall, can you point out the suspect? And you're like, yeah, it's number 7. Oh, nah, I think it's number 5. And it's like, number 5, can you step forward? Number 5 steps forward. Turn to the side. They turn to the side. And they're like, is that him? Is that her? Is that the suspect? You know what we do now? We do this photo lineup. We take similar featured people, right? If the person's white, they're black, Hispanic. Again, if the suspect's Hispanic or the suspect's white, you don't want to use all the other suspects in the lineup to be black. That doesn't work, right? Because then what you're saying is it could be challenged in court, in trial. They're like, well, here's the lineup, the photo lineup the detective put together. Okay, the suspect is a white male, but there's only one white male in the 6 photo lineup and all the other suspects are black. So you basically are suggesting that this is the suspect. So that's why you have to be careful with these lineups. So in this case, the suspect who conducted the murder always had a face covering. Everybody who may have saw the suspect only saw the suspect during the time of the crime with a mask and a hoodie on. There was a gentleman who was outside when the situation happened. He was sitting in the car. He saw the suspect. There was a woman who was at the door right as the suspect walked up behind the CEO and fired several rounds into the back. All that witness saw, again, was a face mask along with the hoodie. Here's their lineup. Which eyes are the suspect? Can you pick? Which suspect? Luigi's face is in here as well. Which one is it? So again, this is going to be very, very interesting. Why do I say that this is a big problem too? You have the gentleman at the shooting incident of the crime. He's in his car. He saw the suspect run off. You have the female witness who actually was right there at the heat of the actual murder. Okay. Then you have the witness who was at the hostel, who collected the ID. She's your number one. Then you have the camera that caught the suspect, alleged suspect, in the cab. All right. What else do we have? Now we have the McDonald's encounter. You have an old man. I wonder what insurance plan he has. All right. He walks in with his immaculate vision. He looks at the gentleman sitting in the corner, which is Luigi, and says, he looks like the guy on TV. Remember, at the time, the only images that were presented were the ones from the hostel, the one from the taxi cab, and that's it. And the way this image looks with Luigi, how was this old man able to make that connection? Maybe he's good. Maybe it's a coincidence. Or maybe this is a collaborated effort. He goes to the register, he speaks to the McDonald's worker, and he makes the phone call. The police show up, the police only having access to the same information we all had access to, the same images. They look at him with the mask on, and they make a connection and say, that's our guy. How did you come to that conclusion? By looking at the eyebrows and the eyes.
The unibrow?
Yeah.
The unibrow.
Between the NYPD detectives, between Alvin Bragg and his office, we're fairly confident we have what we're looking for.
I also think the cameras from up above with someone wearing a hood on.
You have to understand something.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go
sometimes
to every conspiracy theory.
The video you see,
Yeah.
sometimes the color is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
There's different nuances to
Different
this.
angles.
But again, just the video. Look how far from the scene up to the bus depot. That's a lot of work.
So whenever we got on scene there, we were able to pretty much find where he was at in the restaurant. And as soon as he was wearing a blue medical mask. As soon as we pulled that down, or we asked him to pull it down, me, my partner, and I recognized him immediately, just from what we saw in the media with photos, videos. We just didn't even think twice about it. We knew that was our guy, but he was very.
Well, guess what happens when this goes to court? If I'm his attorney, what am I doing, you guys? I'm putting this photo up. And I'm showing a list of similar eyebrows and eyes with my suspect in there as well. And I'm going to do 6. Keep it simple. And I'm going to ask that same officer, the 2 officers who responded at the scene, who made a statement and said, I knew it was him. I knew it was him when I saw him. Immediately, I knew it was him. And I'm going to say in front of the jury, here is your photo lineup. Because officer, based off of your statement, you stated that you knew immediately when you saw him that this was the guy. Can you point out, based on what you saw, based off looking at his eyes, based on looking at his eyebrows, that you knew that this was my client, and then my client was actually the shooter from New York? Can you do that? Can you point it out? And guess what, you guys? God bless him if he picks wrong. The case is done. The case is done, right? What is the argument? The argument is you can't make that assumption off of looking at it. You just can't. And here's the problem, because you get into this idea that at one point you see a connecting eyebrow. At one point you don't. At one point, listen, this eyebrow footage right here looks like this brother got a whole Brazilian wax across his face. It looks clean. Okay, it looks clean. One could argue is, how do you know that this is a man? Could this not be a woman? Then I would put up examples of someone who has the same similar features, remove the mask, and it's actually a female. I would say, hey, listen, officer, I have you on the stand. What am I asking as the attorney? Based on this image, can you tell the gender of this individual? Yeah, this is a man. Okay. Based on these eyes that are on the screen, can you point out which ones to me, based on the face covering and the eyes and the eyebrows that you see, officer, can you point out and tell me what the gender is? You guys, I'd be a cold attorney. Why? Because I understand how attorneys think, right? I've battled so many attorneys. I had so many high-profile cases in my career. You start to understand what they look for, and when you know what they look for, you know how to properly investigate. And listen, I've been dragged on the stand before. That's where you get your experience. So listen, I understand, because you want to bring in question that they didn't have a clue, that they assumed that this wasn't evidence-based research, this was all speculation, and that they don't have evidence to support their assumption. How did you know my client is the person when he's completely covered? You can't even pick out the proper gender. How do you know this person in the cab is not a woman? Is this the only person in New York who walks around with a face mask on and a black jacket? You mean to tell me they stopped making these jackets when they sold them to your client? How do you know that this person is my client? Listen, you guys, when these attorneys, and you're talking these high-powered attorneys get up here and they start asking these questions, these attorneys are word wizards, and they will dance circles around what you believe to be as evidence. These people will put a Jedi mind trick on you so bad that you will think that you picked up the wrong person. They're gonna have you thinking the shooter's still out there. Their job is to get the jury to second guess everything that you did. That's why your game has to be airtight, has to be solid. So this is going to come down to, can you properly identify the suspect based on eyes and eyebrows? And the attorney's going to test you on that. They're going to bring in doubt. They're going to bring in question. They're going to make the jury question. The jury's going to be like, shit, damn, now I think about it. I thought it was number 5. I thought that was him. He's not the only one with big bushy eyebrows. All right. And the shooter could have very much well been a female. What physical characteristics that you see in that video that determines gender? I mean, I'm just asking. You guys, this is a slippery slope, and this is how quickly things get out of hand when you're in trial. See, it looks like you have it all together until someone starts picking it apart. And when they pick it apart, you can be like, damn, how come I didn't think about that? If you guys watched my other videos, I know this is a long series, but I talked about the idea of an investigator going into a building of a hostel and not asking questions like, hey, do you know which room the alleged shooter was in? You know, did you see them come out? How do you know there wasn't someone? Again, listen, anybody can wear these outfits. Anybody could wear these outfits. If this was a coordinated activity, there could be multiple people involved, dressing in multiple different clothing, who all had different roles and responsibilities. So, you know, to say that there's only one person, one shooter, I don't know. You know, you got to be able to prove that. The burden of proof is on the state. It's on the government to prove that this person is in fact who they think he is. So you guys, listen, all I'm saying is this is going to be a very, very interesting case if they can even make it to trial, because right now it looks really, really sloppy on the investigative side. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. Can they close the deal by looking at the eyes alone? And if the eyebrows look too crisp, you must acquit, okay? Anyways, guys, let me get your thoughts below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share the video, and with that, you guys, good night. God bless.